Hey guys, Frankomatic here. We are back with Heads Will Roll with our buddy Eric in Chapter 1, The Siege of Cambrai. Stats are looking pretty okay. We have an item we wish to get rid of. We want to sell this hat off. I'm going to buy this wine bottle for no real reason. Let's talk to Bart, see what he has to say. Cheers, brother, what's up? What's new? Any news? News, you say? Well, I have a little business in mind for an extra pair of hands would come in handy. I'm all ears. Put my eyes on one warehouse where we can line our pockets with all sorts of stuff. The plan is thought out to the smallest detail. Everything will go off without a hitch. Without a hitch, you say? Exactly. Let me guess, everything is covered, but there is one but. One little nothing, really. I just need to make the quartermaster take a nap for a couple of hours, and it's in the bag. And this is where you come into play. Took a couple hours nap. Don't tell me you don't mean... Of course not. No blood. You don't even need to be there. I'll do everything myself. All I need from you is to help me with the right ingredients. I know a good recipe for a potent sleeping aid, and I've got almost everything I need by now. There's only a couple of plants left. There should be plenty of them in the surrounding forests. You just need to take a good look. Oh yes, well, and of course, a bottle of cheap booze, to which I can add a sleeping aid. There should be plenty of this junk in the camp. Well, can I count on you? It'll be golden if everything goes smoothly, I'm telling you. Yeah, sure. What can I say? The deal is suspicious, the prospects are vague. I'm in. Great. You know what to do, just don't delay too much or I'll miss our chance. Hey, buddy. Here's your poison plant. Hey, buddy. Here's your healing herb. Hey, buddy. Here's your booze. Great, this is exactly what I need. Now it's time for me to do my part of the deal. You don't have to worry. Drop by my place in a couple of days for your share. Take a bigger bag with you. You'll need it. Haha. Hey, let's quickly talk about this guy. Talk to this guy. Got any work for me, I'd be ready to help out. I need some money. I've always got work. As long as you're not a clumsy dork. I'm not a clumsy dork. You know what all clumsy dorks have in common? They all believe they're not. What on earth are you even on about? Didn't I just help you out at the forge? I don't recall you having a single complaint. That work was a piece of cake. Anyone can do that. If you want to earn some proper cash, you gotta step up your game, son. There are not only the hands, but that's also that tiny head of yours, which proves to be too hard for some people. Now for some real work, then head to the forge and run some errands. But if you're ready, let me know. There's some real money to be made. I'm ready. I like your confidence. Well then, listen here. Got a highly specific order. The customer wants a combined armor. Leather jacket with a chainmail overlay. Wants it to be sturdy, too. Torso armor no less than 10, and torso cover no less than 90. Limbs should also be well protected. Cover no less than 6. Or wait, armor no less than 6, cover no less than 30. Apparently has to look nice, 7 over prestige. You can craft one, I'll buy it from you for whatever it's worth, plus an additional 70 florins. Now we gotta find the correct items. We have the leather armor, that will do just fine. What we need is some sort of chain bit to put over top of it. Which can be a little hard to come by. And Gamson ain't gonna do it. Yeah, it don't want to show up right now. That's fine. What we can do first is our once-a-chapter scavenge. Get out of the camp, go to the surrounding forests. As you move through the forest, you notice a bit of metal at the top of one of the trees. Taking a closer look, you realize that it's coming from a magpie's nest, which apparently contains something valuable. Let's go. Covered with numerous twigs, the tree looks like it'll be an easy climb up and you get into action. With a steady grip on the twigs, you rush upwards. Strength and luck check passed, fatigue increased. Deftly clambering from branch to branch, you easily reach the top. More fatigue. Now reach the top, you snatch the valuable shiny thing from the nest and return to the ground. Once back in safety, you examine the loose closer. A bronze ring. That's fine. Bit of money. And now for the other stuff. More healing herbs and poison herbs. A mandrake root. That is interesting, actually. Some more leather. Another 20 florins. While exploring the outskirts of Cambrai, you happen to pass through some small village where, coincidentally, a fair takes place. Most emergencies is typical pets and stuff, but who knows, maybe you'll find something truly valuable here. Visit the fair. We lost some time. Egg poison, anti-shoes, ring. Most of this is, in fact, crap. This, however, will be useful later. Alright, let's get rid of some of these items here. No, we don't have enough. We can make some more poison, though. Now we can trade off some of that stuff. We don't need this. We don't need these. The medicines... I should not have closed that. That was stupid. The medicines can go into our pouch along with this. Oh, that's a trinket. That's bizarre. Why can I not put the medicine... Oh, right, you don't use medicine in the belt. In a while. We can afford to upgrade this, right? Yes. Alright. Let's dump this and this in there, and these. There we go. Now then, let's give this a couple more refreshes here. This I want. I think we combine that with our light helmet. Let's see. Craft armor. Yes. Gets us this thing. I don't know if that's better than what we're wearing. I don't think it is. Armor, 42, 550. Yeah, this isn't as good, but we can sell it for a bit more. Still just not finding what we need to make the armor that guy wants. Which is fine. Bart should be good to go here. Well, it was a piece of cake, just as I thought. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to take everything from there, but I acquired a few good things. Acquired? Is that what it's called now? Yeah, you're right. It'd be more correct to say obtained. As I promised, I made it worth a while. I came by a brand new Gambeson, the latest trend in just your size. Dig in. Gambeson, is that all? I would have bitten my tongue if I were you, buddy, because aside from the Gambeson, the other things I have in store for you are a firm handshake and a thank you. If you prefer the latter, then please, no problem. What do you say? Well, I'd hit the Gambeson, thanks anyway. You're welcome. Is this supposed to be my reward? One puny Gambeson? Of course not. There's all kinds of stuff here. Pick whatever you want. The scabbard is nice, actually. No, it's not. This is the one that doesn't give any prestige, so this is useless. This is all stuff that we can sell. The lower jacket is actually pretty good. But I don't want it. Oh, what, you're happy now? By the way, I completely by accident got my hands on a large variety of items. They aren't of any use to me, though. Take a look through when you have a moment. You'll end up fancying something. I'll give you a good deal. Oh, I'm sure you would. Don't be like that, friend. I'm just trying to look after you. I'll be damned I'm no longer around, and you'll suddenly realize how much I was doing for you. That is incredibly likely. He will probably die at some point. The last guy said it was all stolen and left here with his eyes swollen. Now then. We specifically want this. For later. The other stuff is all interesting. I have no need for any of it. I have just realized I am, like, out of money. One day, a Venetian merchant appears in the camp, passing by, traveling from Italy to the lands of the German princes. Well, the merchant instantly ends up in Bartholomew's field of vision, who quickly makes inquiries about him, finding out, among other things, that the merchant is a big lover of gambling. At the same time, however, he is very cunning and is familiar with most of the tricks that cheaters use, and because of it, it would seem that it would not be possible to make easy money on him. Bartholomew, however, being no slouch in everything that concerns gambling, is determined to try his luck and is already scheduled to game with the Venetian. According to Bartholomew, he's absolutely confident that he'll be able to outplay the merchant as soon as he sees through his strategy. However, this may not work out the first time. It means they will need a hefty sum in order to open up the opponent. In the Venetian's gambling addiction, you can be sure he will definitely not leave the table until he fishes the last coin from his opponent's pockets or until he empties his own purse. According to Bartholomew, you can earn a lot of money that way, but you still have to find good capital spent in the game. At the same time, success would be doubly guaranteed if you manage to get some lucky dice. Dressing you as a friend, he asks you to help him raise money and promises to generously share the booty in proportion to your investment. Given the game is scheduled for the next evening, you don't have much time. We want to get rid of these items. Sometimes you can find dice in the shop. Currently not really having any luck on that front. Any soldier knows that one should always stay away from the authorities, and he now fully rose to truth these words, having accidentally caught the Earl's eye on one of the days. He immediately get called to him to receive a responsible task. The Earl says he is currently actively working on plans to infiltrate the besieged city, but the shortage of good alcohol in the camp is a serious threat to his strategic genius. When you timidly try to note the army stocks are full of wine and ale, the Earl immediately silences you, stating that he is not going to drink this swill and he needs something of substantially higher quality. A good place to look for this something, in his opinion, would be the farmsteads of the local nobility that have not yet been plundered. There in the cellars is supposed to be an excellent supply of wine. I read that incorrectly. A supply of excellent wine. The whole thing, of course, should be done as quietly as possible without attracting too much attention. You're not enthusiastic about this assignment, but it is what it is. Not like someone's giving you a choice. We need to play the lute a bit. There we go. We also want to go talk to the doctor, because she will talk to us now. Well, 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 who do we have here? It's the terror of the French himself. You don't have to say anything. I've already been told about your achievements. If not for you and other brave men, the young prince would have been grabbed by the Frenchies. You're now basically a hero. I'm not going to lie, I was somewhat skeptical about you when we first met, but now I see I was clearly wrong. Fortunately for you, I'm always willing to own up to my mistakes. I must admit that I'm glad to see you safe and sound. Don't take it the wrong way. Come in and catch Cecilia doing something very strange. She walks back and forth from one chest to another, muttering something under her breath and clearly not knowing what to do. I think I'm going insane. What's the matter? Things have started to disappear over the past few days. Things. Medicine. I've never been a particularly observant person when it comes to these things, but at first I blamed everything on my own forgetfulness or thought it was just an accident. The level it was reached is not funny anymore. Things disappear without a trace on such a large scale. The matter can only be attributed to simple forgetfulness. I'm afraid I have to ask for your help. Anything you want? Pretty sure someone is just stealing my stock. I usually notice the loss in the mornings. Whoever this mysterious thief is, he apparently prefers to act at night. I'll deal with it. You can count on me. At night, you take up a secluded position near the part of the infirmary where Cecilia and her men store medical supplies. At first, nothing happens. However, around midnight, you notice a suspicious figure sneaking around in the shadows. An unknown person sneaks up to the infirmary and starts fiddling with the lock, stealthily looking around and trying to remain unnoticed. In an effort to catch him red-handed, you wait until he opens the lock and goes in. You follow him inside and find him stuffing his bag with all kinds of medicine. When he sees your menacing figure, his eyes are immediately filled with genuine terror. However, when asked as to why he steals, he tells you a story for which you are not ready. According to the thief, he steals medicines not for himself, but for one of his comrades who was seriously injured during a recent attempt to break into the city. He fought bravely and was butchered by the French during the fight. Now, instead of receiving full-fledged medical care, he has to lie on a simple mat and be content with prayers, since all the doctors and their resources go straight to the knights and their soldiers from among the wealthy. Now the poor man clings to life and only thinks to the help of his friends, who bring him medicine whenever possible. He begs you to let him go so he can help his friend. Let's let him go. Moved by his story, you let him go with the stolen good. Virtue increased by 5. Only words of gratitude, the Apple Thief hurries to hide in the darkness of the night. He belatedly realizes that he probably should have offered to help him in saving his friend. At the same time, you're not going to really do much for our fellow. Perhaps you should not get involved in this already sad story. Let's not interfere. Better for worse, the soldier vanishes in the darkness before you have time to decide anything. You have no choice but to leave the matter as it is. In the morning, Cecilia once again notices a mess in her supplies and realizes that you have not managed to stop the night thief. Furious, she attacks you with criticism. Only when she finally cools down a little do you manage to tell her the details of the story. Hearing about the motives of the thief, the girl instantly changes expression and immediately asks to forgive her for such a response. At the same time, however, she notes the whole story is somewhat confusing, as it's the first time she's heard of it. Here's the Royal Army treats any wounded in this way, even if it's ordinary soldiers. In her, the knights are indeed the top priority, but that doesn't mean everyone else is simply left to die. Saying goodbye, she again apologizes and says he did the right thing in her opinion. The whole incident clearly left a bad taste in her mouth. But you lose the 15 rep, but you end up gaining 17, so it's a net gain, doing it that way. Now then, we need to travel to the Lambert estate. Earl's order leads you to Estate de Lambert. Lambert, probably. It's French, Lambert. One of the few places around Cambrai that is definitely not threatened by marauders and foragers. The estate is a group of fortified buildings in the rolling hills to the northwest of the city. Despite the fact that it very clearly is not a full-fledged castle, the estate still looks very solid. For the most part thanks to the imposing moat surrounding it, as well as short but thick walls. At the entrance to the drawbridge, you are stopped by the crossbowman standing on the wall, asking what the hell you need here. Yeah, what do you actually want here? The question kind of catches you by surprise. Quickly go over the options in your head, you decide what to say to the guards. Options. Multiple, which we have. Trying your best to sound as convincing as possible, you declare that you have arrived on a confidential matter personally commissioned by His Excellency, Excellency Earl of Northampton, the first of the Lords of Central England. However, judging by the sour faces of the crossbowmen, their knowledge of the hierarchy of the English nobility is rather poor, and they clearly do not fully understand the significance of your mission. Seeing that the matter is obviously reaching a dead end, you try to explain in a nutshell who the Earl is and why he, and therefore you, is a very important person demanding a lot of respect. This time your words had a greater effect, and judging by the somewhat perked up faces of the guards, they begin to be imbued with some kind of respect for your now common good friend Earl. So much so that one of the crossbowmen unexpectedly offers to make the Earl a small gift from the de Lambert family, as well as personally from himself. A gift in the form of a crossbow bolt between the eyes. The guard states that he is ready to personally present it to the Earl if he decides to come here. Or it's even more convenient, he continues, you, as a full-fledged confidant of such an important person, should be able to pass him the gift. With these words, the guard begins to load the crossbow. Belatedly realizing that you are very much in trouble, you try to dissuade him from giving you the gift, but the hospitable Frenchman clearly insists. The moment the guard picks up the crossbow and aims at you, someone calls him off. A few seconds later, a young girl appears on the wall next to the crossbowmen, rudely reprimanding them for their arbitrariness. We passed a luck check. If you do not pass the luck check, you get shot with an arrow. You don't die, though. Having carefully studied the unexpected guest, she gives the order to let you in. Well, first of all, I think I should apologize for the reception my people almost gave you. However, given the intentions with which you and your friends arrived in my homeland, you should hardly be surprised at how you were greeted. This war is started by kings and lords. I'm just a soldier and only follow the orders. I'm ready to swear to you that I have not killed and will not kill women, children, and the unarmed. For God as my witness, I do not thirst for blood. However, duty is duty, and my honor obliges me to take part in my overlord's campaign, and I will have to shed blood to avoid disgrace, even against my will. Forgive me for my harshness. I understand that you ended up so far from home and with weapons in your hands, not by your own will. I can see that you are clearly a worthy person. Or virtue. My name is Eva de Lambert. I am the daughter of Count... Oh, God. Guillaume de Lambert, Guardian of Flanders. When the news of the arrival of the English army came, my father went to Paris to help King John form the army, and left his governor in Cambrai under a promise that the city would not be surrendered. Well, in his absence, I had become the mistress and protector of the family estate and its inhabitants. What brought you here? Let's talk about it frankly. As I said, I'm here on a very serious matter. My boss, how can I put it, he is going through an acute existential crisis, and only a couple of bottles of excellent wine can help him to cope with it. Huh? And this is your important assignment? I thought I acted as hostess to a high-ranking messenger in my house, not a street beggar. But so be it. As a sign of my goodwill, I am ready to share the contents of the Chateau de Lambert wine cellars, but only on one condition. I want you to promise that my family's lands and villages around Cambrai will not be plundered and nothing will happen to their inhabitants. Knowing that my father is responsible for the defense of the city, I can say with confidence that you are stuck here for a long time, so sooner or later the English king will start sending foragers around the neighborhood. Promise me that you will stand up for my people. Sure. I'll do everything in my power to protect them. And if I have to, I will give up my life. I trust you, thanks. We barely know each other, but somehow I feel like I can trust you, as if you have something noble in you. Well, in that case, I'll be true to my word too. The contents of the de Lambert estate wine cellars are at your disposal. I dare to hope that my generosity will serve as a reminder of this conversation to you and your lord. And yet you will not commit rash acts that could stain your hands and honor with blood. I'll be glad to see you as my guest again, and not necessarily on someone else's errands. Your return to camp is uneventful. Now, it's important, if you want to complete that quest, to talk to the Earl. Don't forget to actually tell him that you did it. Hope it's something important, not the wine. Got what you asked for. Here are several bottles of excellent French wine from one of the local chateaux. Great job, my boy. I saw you for the second time in my life, but for some reason I felt that I could definitely rely on you, and as you can see, I was not mistaken. I'll be honest, I hate fools who cannot be entrusted with anything at all, but as it usually turns out, these fools make up the majority around here. Let's see, you've got a head on your shoulders. I remember you in case I need a reliable person. This is for your work. Now piss off. Not quite enough to get another talent point yet. Let's see. You got dice or metal armor for me yet, buddy? You sure don't. There we go, dice. Alright. Buy these. Cheers, brother. What's up? About the merchant? Let's go on the money, mate. I will give you the dice. What's that? A pair of lucky dice? The ones that always give the desired combination? Great find, thanks. I certainly lose them on my side, and I'll give you 100 florins. Heavens, where'd you get so much? Box this fat, surprising you aren't traveling the world's a wealthy merchant yourself. Alright, I'll try not to screw it up. I'll let you know how it goes. I need to waste some time. According to the king's plan, the success of the upcoming assault will be ensured by several dozen different siege machines, trebuchets, catapults, siege towers, and battering rams. The construction obviously requires not only time, but a large amount of effort, and therefore many soldiers are involved in this work every day. This fate does not pass you by either. Assist construction engineers. Those experienced in construction are dispatched to assist the engineers who supervise the assembly of siege weapons. Not only you have some knowledge of engineering, you also find yourself sent to them. Thanks to your knowledge and skills, you have come in handy to them, and believe that, and because of that, you're able to receive praise during the work. Intelligent and educated people are always worth their weight in gold, and as a result, you begin to notice that people look at you with more respect, and your authority among the soldiers is clearly growing. At the command of one of the officers, 2 dozen militiamen are tasked with digging trenches. They'll be spending the rest of the day doing hard physical labor. Not too long ago, you would have easily found yourself in that position, but your status now spares you from such an unenviable fate. Alright, that should have been long enough for Bart. What's new? Any news? Nope, not yet. Okay. Can you help me out with the armor I'm looking for, game? You sure aren't, are you? That's fine. Do that. Get ourselves up to... One day you were unexpectedly called by a sergeant who asked you to help in one important matter. You need to deliver water to one of the distant outposts covering the western part of the city, which is considered not particularly promising in terms of siege. Moreover, there are no large gates, and therefore there is only one relatively small detachment. The problem, however, is that in the past few days, the French made several sorties in that direction, and among other things, attacked one of the couriers delivering messages from the detachment. All this apparently is just a diversionary maneuver, and transfer large forces to the western side of the city means to follow the French lead, weakening the more promising directions. Thus, the western detachment will not get reinforcements. However, it is still necessary to supply it and also maintain contact with it. Therefore, a reliable person is needed who can be assigned to the role of a courier for a short time. Their task is to safely get to the western outpost and give them a letter with instructions from command as well as a load of drinking water. Sergeant gives you the letter and tells you to come to him to get the water later. The luggage may turn out to be bulky, so it'll be handy to pick up some kind of bag. However, the sergeant himself can give it to you as well. Sergeant also warns you that the road may not be the safest, however he assures you that the surrounding territories are, at the very least, still patrolled. Therefore, in the event of a French attack, you would simply need to hold out till help arrives. And Bart arrives. We outplayed the Venetian in a difficult game. With gratitude, he gives you your share of the winnings, a bunch of money. We also get the dice back. The windfall, however, is slightly offset by the realization that was achieved through the use of lucky dice, which many players feel is tantamount to cheating. Echoing your thoughts, Bartholomew mentions that the Venetian also suspected something was on his slip of dice, but he had managed to slip away before causing any serious commotion. That does mean we can get ourselves a new talent. And we are going to get... what are we going to get? We're going to get Woodsman. So we restore fatigue when we go out scavenging. Now we need to rest up a bit before we go deliver that water. That'll do. Alright, we need to go talk to the we need to go talk to the sergeant first. Your squad is led by an old sergeant, a battered soldier who fought under the Earl during the king's ill-fated Scottish campaign. Despite his grumbling and an always dissatisfied look, the sergeant treats the soldiers very well and tries to make sure everything is in order. Kind of doing the usual, cleaning weapons. Noticing you, he looks up inquiringly. About the water. Take these canteens. I have a bag for you if you can't carry them in your hands. You can fit everything in it. 1, 2, 3. Out of the western outpost. Your journey progresses calmly at first. It is a bright and sunny day, and the forest around you seems tranquil enough. Once the atmosphere is quite relaxed, and with each steady step your horse takes, you submerge more and more into your own thoughts. I told you more than once that for the poor and low-born, war is a chance to get ahead, if only by getting ahead of off those who oppose you. You not exactly end up here by your own choice, and so far your utmost concern has been your survival, while fame and fortune seem some wishful illusion beyond your reach. However, opportunities do present themselves from time to time, and one must be utterly blind to ignore these chances. Nothing good will come out of it if you bite off more than you can chew through, though, as Grandma used to say. No point in rushing towards a prize head first if you cannot keep that head on your shoulders. As you process that thought, a crossbow bolt sticks into a tree right in front of your face with a loud thud, followed by what sounds like heavy swearing in French. Out of the corner of your eye, you see several figures approaching on foot from different directions. Harboring no illusions of what is going on, you spur the horse to a gallop in the hope of outrunning your pursuers. The terrain is rough, with small ravines and tree roots limiting the much-desired gallop to a wearying trot. It doesn't have to keep some distance from your chasers, but they are persistent, and so far there is no real chance to leave them behind. Arrows and bolts whiz by you repeatedly, each successive shot seeming better aimed than the ones before. By cleverly maneuvering between the trees, you manage to evade all of them. It can hardly be considered a success, as the disorderly chase draws you deeper into the wilderness, with vegetation growing increasingly dense and harder to pass through. Your pursuers are getting closer by the minute, and your chances of escape seem to slip away. Let's try and get away. Not about to give up now, you continue pushing forward. Your effort is soon rewarded as you break free back onto the road, where you gallop your horse unimpededly and leave the chasers far behind. Having finally cleared the forest, you find yourself at just a quarter of an hour's ride from the outpost. The rest of your journey goes free of interruptions. Once at the western outpost, you give the chief a letter with instructions from command. The letter, however, is of little interest to anyone. With much greater impatience, he and his people await the promised drinking water. You pass on the flask, the clear thirsty soldiers become very animated and seemingly very glad to see you. Coming back with one of the cavalry detachments, you report to the sergeant on the completion of the task. Hearing about the French attack, the first thing he wonders about is the safety of the letter. For making sure it is okay, he praises you and promises to put in a word with the Earl. Okay. I believe you can offer help. The knight obliges me to ask if I can help you with something. I'm completely at your service. Oh, how sweet. Do I look that desperate to you? You're walking on thin ice, Sire Knight. However, I'm not going to lie, I don't know what I could really appreciate someone's help. How can I be of help? Fact is, during a recent moves, I lost my sword. Don't look at me like that. I understand that for a warrior, a sword means much more than a sharpened piece of iron you can stab someone with. However, I am not a warrior. I have a huge luggage full of more important things than this piece of iron. Medicines, blah blah blah. What was I even talking about? We're in the middle of a military campaign, and the French now regularly make sorties from the besieged city. Everyone around me is trying to assure me that I am absolutely safe here, but I can hardly believe it. The possibility of being in the thick of some battle without a weapon scares me a little. Obviously, I'm not going to participate in anything like this, and your military affairs do not concern me, but I would not be sincere if I said that I would not feel safer with a sword. I hope you understand what I'm asking of you. Yeah, I'll get you a sword. About the sword. I got a sword. Except I don't have it with me. I forget if I can actually give her the falcon. Let's see. She won't accept some swords. Got a sword. Hand over the falcon. Got you a sword. Great news! Despite your questionable appearance, for some reason I realized I can rely on you, Sir Knight. I've seen better swords, however, given the fact I'm not planning on using it, I'm sure it'll be fine. Thank you. As for your reward, here, I believe this might prove useful in the coming days. Medicine and coagulants, huh? That ain't bad. You take the damn thing? There we go. If you happen to get wounded, these medicines should help you hold on for a bit. Long enough that you come under my care. Okay. I think that's everything we can do for the moment, so now it's just time to burn a little bit of time. Another couple of points of vitality. Vitality. Get that up to 20? Yeah. Now we're close enough that I don't really want to train again, just in case. I will buy this canteen. Oh. Don't need that. And we'll buy this cross for later also. There we go, that's looking good. Take a rest to heal ourselves up. Now then. Can we find ourselves some armor that we can use? I don't think that's going to show up till the next chapter is the thing, but it doesn't hurt to look. Yeah, I think it's time to just accept that we're not getting it this go around and waste our last bit of time to get into our battle. There we go. At the appointed hour, the whole camp is set in motion, and your eyes are presented with a both great and terrifying spectacle. Volleys of dozens of trebuchets and catapults unleashing a relentless avalanche of boulders on the city provide cover to the hordes of soldiers rushing the fortress walls. The whistle of arrows, the crash of projectiles, the beat of war drums, the howl of trumpets, and the scream of over 1,000 voices merge into a single deafening cacophony in which you can no longer tell any sound apart. Being in the thick of the assault, you, mere minutes after the start of the attack, can no longer distinguish separate sounds in the surrounding hum that echoes in your head. And those rain of arrows and crossbow bolts pour on you from the city walls, only growing stronger the closer you get to the city. Injured and slain comrades are falling beside you left and right, but by some miracle you manage to not get hit by any arrows yourself. You finally get to the city walls, a hail of stones rains on you from above. One of the heavier stones lands directly on Bartholomew's helmet, barely 2 feet away from you. He falls to the ground as blood trickles down his face. Assisted by several other soldiers, you drag him away. The poor fellow, though still breathing, appears to be unconscious and can fall prey to enemy archers at any moment. Leave him lying like that would most likely be a death sentence. I will not put my shield on him. I need it. You hesitate a moment, deciding whether to cover him with your shield, but you're just not willing to take another risk. Instead, you leave him with a silent prayer. Holy and guardian angel, save the injured as well as yourself. Try to keep the shield for yourself. After all, it'll be of more use to someone who can stand on both feet as opposed to someone with 1 foot in the grave already. As soon as you catch your breath, you look around for ladders that should already be in place. Well, that was a plan anyway, as they're nowhere to be seen. They continue searching, trying to make some sense of anything in the clouds of dust and smoke enveloping you. A chaotic fight ensues. Taking full advantage of the state of disarray, a group of enemy soldiers emerges from the haze and attacks your troop. Time to take these guys down. You can land those neck hits, they do a lot of damage. This guy's got an axe, which you don't really want to play around with. Leg chopped off, huh? Another axe. Naturally. These guys can damage your armor. They do have to hit you to do that. Shield bashing is an incredibly good ability. Allows you to end things very quickly. Once again, we do not need to find garbage, we can just rest up. The daring sortie of the French fails to push you back from the walls. The attackers cannot grind down your troop in time and soon find themselves surrounded by arriving reinforcements who overrun them. You get a short breather. The defenders keep throwing stones and shooting arrows at you, but the shower of missiles seems to be dwindling. The siege engines sing for their supper well enough, shattering the walls with every hit. The arrival of reinforcements, the siege ladders finally make an appearance as well, and by Northampton's order, they are immediately propped up against the walls. In an attempt to encourage the men, the Earl promises a handsome reward as well as a double share of the spoils to the first soldier who sets foot atop the walls. Despite this generous offer, your fellow militiamen seem to have little enthusiasm for the idea. Go first. Risks be damned, and not willing to let the Earl down, you rush forward and lead the charge, climbing one of the ladders. Any thoughts of wealth and glory fade away as more and more heavy stones fall from above. Barely dodging the first one, you raise your shield above you and deflect the next few. Having to keep the shield in front of you, the rest of your climb proceeds at a slow pace. Several of those who followed you are not as fortunate, however, losing their grip from the impact and knocking down other allies in the process. Their screams urge you forward, and a few moments later you set foot atop the wall. Several enemy soldiers attack you at once. The only thing you can do now is defend yourself, hoping for reinforcements. This guy is drawn with a shield, despite not having one. That happens sometimes. If you want to know for sure, you can either click on them and look at their inventory, or you can see this. We too have been bashed. That's unfortunate. Luckily, we have real armor. We only need to kill both of these guys. the plan first here is to, get rid of one of them. It fainted, apparently. That's a little annoying. Now we need to bust this guy's shield to get it out of the way. He is tiring himself out, so let's untire ourselves a little bit. Make sure we're not in too bad of a spot for this. And get him right in the head. Oh, we damaged his eye. Just lowered his accuracy and evasion by 10. Sucks to be him. And now he's dead. Once again, we're going to rest up. The course of the battle gradually changes. The confident onslaught of the English, which allowed you to take over a large section of the wall, is now slowly but surely fizzling out. The French, on the other hand, thanks to a constant flow of reinforcements, begin to push even harder, threatening to throw you off the wall very soon. Right in the heart of battle, you spot a tall knight leading and cheering the French soldiers. Confidently wielding his halberd, he fights with such fury as if he intends to win the battle just by himself. Some of your comrades rush at him, but one by one they fall dead from his heavy blows. Again, if you've gotten this far on a fresh character, don't fight this guy. He will mess you up. We're gonna fight him, though. Despite the fatigue and exhaustion, you remain clear-minded and are able to see that this is the exact moment that might decide the fate of the whole assault. The French, just like you, are standing in their last legs, and the death of the knight leading the defense cannot but topple their ranks. With these thoughts in mind, you take a step forward. This guy starts tired, which is your main benefit, because he's actually pretty buff for a fresh character. And his old halberd is a little bit tricky to work around. As you can see, we have a pretty good chance to shield that, which will tire him out even more. You do not get stunned. You did take a big swing and whiff, though. Aiming for the head is where you want to go. It's the least armored part of his body. Realizing that you may have bitten off more than you can swallow, you think to call out to your comrades for help. Now we got this. He's already half dead. He's, lost sight in one of his eyes, somewhat. And now he's dead. Everyone's surprised the Frenchman fails to quickly deal with you. Moreover, in the course of the fight, he himself again and again misses the blows, receiving one wound after another. The formidable knight, who until recently seemed invincible, falls dead to the roaring jubilation of the English soldiers. The equipment of the defeated enemy becomes your reward. We have our own halberd if we wanted to use one. Halberds are pretty good weapons. Decent neck armor. This knight's chain is actually really good. Soldier's axe, a hat, and a wine bottle. The death of a knight really makes the French quail. However, at the most decisive moment, luck suddenly turns away from you as the reinforcements hurry to aid like crumbling enemy troops. The English, exhausted and barely standing on their feet, have no choice but to retreat. As closer to the stairs and the siege towers hurriedly descend, while others are trying to slow down the French advance and cover the retreat. You are one of the last to lead the wall, securing the title of one of the main heroes of today's battle. On the way back to camp, the sergeant, who has witnessed your act of bravery, promises to put in a good word for you with the Earl, who offered a reward to anyone who would show courage during the assault. At the camp, it becomes evident that all the attempts to take the town end with the very same result. English troops attacked the walls from several directions simultaneously, which was supposed to disperse the defending troops. But none of the attacking parties managed to achieve a decisive breakthrough. Heavy fighting took place at several sections of the wall at once. Some watchtowers were captured, but none of the attacks could build further success. At the camp, you see disgruntled knights and lords, as well as hordes of injured soldiers, while the smoking yet impregnable town walls dominate the background. You can't shake the thought that you may be stuck here for some time. Chapter 2, Stuck Under the Walls. After the disastrous, almost catastrophic assault, the entire camp plunges into licking its wounds. Almost all units in the Royal Army suffered substantial losses. Your squad is no exception. Battles cost you more than a dozen men dead or wounded. One of the badly wounded is your friend Bartholomew, who was first hit by a stone from the wall and then took an arrow to the knee and lost much blood. Once the inglorious assault is over, you waste no time promptly help bring him to Cecilia. After seeing the distress in your eyes, she agrees to tend to Bartholomew despite being overwhelmed by the amount of other wounded. His condition is rather grave, and she promises no miracles. She grants she will do her utmost, but does empathize. Now is not the time for unbridled optimism. Nonetheless, let us get back to the events of a bigger scale. The king, who has crossed his two sticks, is rumored to have cast all the blame upon the lords and their uncoordinated actions, who did not bother with mutual support and simply sought an opportunity to capitalize on the other's success so as to pop up in the right place at the right time and take all the credit. As a result, the most battle-worthy and elite troops have wasted most of their time waiting for the right moment to arrive at the tipping point of the battle. Such indecisiveness has cost several missed opportunities, including the foothold that you were able to acquire at one of the walls. Now the king has his inner circle delve into planning another, more elaborate attempt to take Cambrai, leaving nothing to chance and someone's self-will. The Earl and the Prince, eager to prove themselves before the king, delve into laying out a cunning plan to penetrate the town's walls. We have received a salary, we have received the bonus payment. I think that will do it for this video. And a little longer than the first one, but that's to be expected. God damn it. The struggling logistics and soaring number of wounded medical supplies are hard to come by at this time. Why did you take me in here? Next time, we will continue with Chapter 2 of this game. Have a good one, guys, and later.